Once, there was a tortoise named Frank. He was very blue and very sad. So one day, he was swimming through the Red Sea. While I was swimming through this Red Sea, he just decided to eat some sandwiches. And these sandwiches weren't any ordinary sandwiches. These were just the greatest sandwiches you'd ever seen. So these sandwiches, they're full of bologna. And you know a thing or two about bologna. Bologna is made from the fiery pits of Hephaestus' grave, which are pretty fiery, if you know what I mean. Like, there's tacos and everything in there. So Hephaestus is now Mexican, if you know what I mean. And this blue tortoise went to Hephaestus to get some sandwiches. Well, these sandwiches are by far the greatest thing you'd ever see. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. If you want to eat a sandwich, you'd have to eat this one. Anyway, so these sandwiches, I mean, they could even be Toasty Bro sandwiches. Anyway, yeah, these Toasty Bro sandwiches. So he took it to his friend Monroe. Monroe make brown black face. Brown black face make brown flugger lugger rugger pugger. Yeah, the frugger rugger pugger brown face was eating the sandwiches with him when they decided to go on a walk. So this is no ordinary rock. They're in Romania right now. Romania, China. No. Yes, Romania, China district in San Diego. So anyway, this Romanian China district, it's pretty intense. I can't really describe it besides that. I mean, they have dead cats hanging from their ceilings and all the walls are painted pink and green. It's beautiful. It's like a work of nature. Mother Nature would be proud of her siblings for that. All 6 billion of us and those other random animals and stuff. And yeah. Well, the bears, anyway. So the blue tortoise went with Monroe to Romania, China, San Diego, and they decided to grab a bunch of sandwiches. Wait, they already grabbed the sandwiches. No, they're going there just to chill out, alright? So they got the new Humvee, and they're driving around this Humvee. And Humvee blew a tire, and they're like, oh! They'll fly to the coffee shop, and the coffee shop, you'd have to remember this. This coffee shop's name is Donut, and in this coffee shop, there's a retarded flying plant with about 3 eyeballs. I mean, I don't know what to say about that besides what the heck. So they start talking to this floating plant, and this plant freaking lets us slow this all over the floor. There's freaking diarrhea everywhere. It's nasty, and everyone's throwing up. I don't even know what to say. So the blue tortoise, he goes over and just rolls around in it and absorbs it all and saves the day. He's got diarrhea-covered tortoise shells now, but they're fine. So him and Monroe, they ended... Last stand. Alright, so him and Monroe, they end up just having the greatest time ever. So they're all strolling along, diarrhea-covered shells. Monroe's got red lipstick on now just because he ate some cherries, and they were covered in lipstick. I don't know why. They're like, let's make these cherries redders, let's put red lipstick on them, and they're like, yeah, and then they ate them, and then, yeah, Monroe's food poisoning now, I'm sorry. It's not the most ideal circumstance. So they end up walking up north to San Francisco, and in San Francisco they meet Brown Dog. Brown Dog, How Now Brown Cow is by far the greatest ninja jutsu in the chess playing game. So Brown Dog, How Now Brown Cow is all like, I challenge you to a game of sorry. And I just don't even know what to say. He's flipping the board, kicking the table, he's throwing freaking Cheetos at everyone. And then Monroe and Blue Turtle were like, whoa, this guy is the greatest player I've ever seen. I mean, he beat the game in less than 5 seconds. I can't even fathom what was going on there. It's just impeccable. Why are you staring at me? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, stop staring at me. Alright, so anyway, after they meet Brown Dog, How Now Brown Cow, and in San Francisco, and so they decided to travel south to Washington. Yeah, south to Washington. They flipped the polarities of the Earth and stuff, and yeah, the South Pole's green, covered in, well, I don't know, monkey eyeballs and cow tongues. I don't really know. Well, anyway, so they go grab some pink cheese and just start rubbing it against their thighs. I don't even know why they're rubbing this pink cheese against their thighs. It just helps them so much. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You gotta try it sometimes. It makes your legs feel like utter baloney. Like, this baloney is about as blue as the moon. I mean, that's freaking blue. I mean, blue moon, you saw me standing there alone, without a love in my heart, without a dream of my own. Dude. So anyway, when Monroe and the blue turtle get this pink cheese, and after rub on their legs, so they're kind of just feeling all like, whoa! They feel young again. They're like doing backflips and stuff. It's the greatest thing you'd probably ever see. I completely lost where I was going. And they decided to instead go to Washington, D.C., where they went on a road trip on some Segways. So these Segways aren't any Segways. These are souped-up nitrous V8 Segways. Like, fuel-injected carbon fiber muzzles. I mean, they got freaking golden shaft rods on them. That's how great they are. Can't even explain the immense implacability of this. So as they're driving around on their Segway tour, they accidentally run over Obama. And Obama's like, dude, and he gives them $100. And they were like, this is the greatest thing ever. So they go spend their dollars on a couple of cappuccinos in Mickey Mouse's resort. So these cappuccinos are just the greatest thing they've ever had. So they decide to buy another cup of fries. I mean, why would you not buy another cappuccino? I mean, cappuccinos are great. So they buy these fries, and they decide to eat them. But moreover, they drink them instead. So they kind of shove a fry in a straw, and they shove the straw in their eyeball. They kind of like want you shove in the eye, you take it out, and then you take your eyeball out of the straw, and you're like, yay, tasty! And they're like eating these things like Atlantic King cod. And then Chuck Testa walks in, and Chuck is all like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, whoa, who's that? And they're like, is that Bear? He's like, nope. Ronald Reagan. Oh no, Ronald Reagan's here now. And they're like, oh. So we got Chuck Testa, Ronald Reagan, a blue tortoise, and Moreau, all in one building. And Obama's laying on the road giving people $100, bleeding like golden pee out of his eyeballs. I don't even know. Maybe his ears. I think it's more like his nose, probably. So anyway, this is probably the greatest thing you've ever seen. So they're all there, and they're all shaking hands at the same time. It's a four-way handshake. It's immaculate. I mean, you've never seen anything like this. And they're like, and then also there's just like, they're shaking hands, they're like floating. Gravity turns up, they start spinning like a freaking UFO. They're like, the walls just blow out of the building, and they fly apart, creating the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Standing in their place is a purple apple called Jesus. And this purple apple is probably the greatest thing you've ever seen. I don't even know how to explain this purple apple. It's just like, I want purple apples. Dip the apple. No. So anyway, so they dip in these apples in the chocolate gravy milk. So this purple apple named Jesus is like floating there in this destroyed building now. And they're all like, whoa! Whoa! And they feel like they've just ate like 5 cows, you know, like when you eat cow dung and after work, and you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just like the greatest thing ever. So they're all sitting there staring at this floating apple covered in what, chocolate melted car dust. And it's just like, whoa. And they go to the carburetor engine, and they just decide to eat everything. Like, they eat the muzzle, they eat the carburetor itself, and all that other grease monkey stuff. So they go slap a couple grease monkeys for not giving them any candy, and they're like, alright, now that we got revenge, now what? And they're like, what do we do now? And so they call Shrek. So Monroe, the blue turtle, Ronald Reagan, Chuck Testa, and the purple apple called Jesus, they're calling Shrek because they're bored. And then Chuck Testa gets bored and leaves, and Reagan just was like, my people need me! And he floats away into the infinity of some place. And therefore, it's pretty much the end of the story. I mean, they had a great day. They just went home and chilled out on the couch with a couple of Chuck Testas who had some babies, and then some Charlie Sheens just hanging out there. I mean, you can't ask for much more than a couple of Chuck Testas and Charlie Sheen sitting on the same sofa as you. So then, they watched Saturday Night Live until the end of the day. The end! Everybody died.